Israeli army attacked a series of targets throughout the Gaza Strip on Wednesday, killing at least 19 Palestinians. Among the dead was a Reuters cameraman who was killed in an airstrike while filming Israeli tank movements, medical officials said. Israeli forces lost 3 troops in clashes at several locations in Gaza. Army spokespeople said they raided the area to stop Palestinian militants from launching rockets into Israel. Hamas said 4 of its fighters died in northern Gaza. Former United States President Jimmy Carter, in the midst of a Mideast peace tour, said on Wednesday leaving Hamas out of consultations on a peace agreement was counterproductive.
And I don't think it's possible without involving Hamas. I don't care if Hamas represents 10% of the Palestinian people or 42%, 44%. It doesn't matter to me. But to have them completely excluded even from conversations or consultations, I think it's counterproductive.
We spoke to senior news analyst Aijaz Ahmad.
The significance of this statement is that it comes from Jimmy Carter, perhaps the only recent president of the United States who commands a great deal of respect around the globe. For the rest, what he says is obvious and true, and in fact less than the truth, because no one has to guess whether Hamas represents 10% or 42% or 44%. Elections were held in the occupied territories quite recently, and they were declared to be fair by all the international observers, Europeans, as well as the Carter Center itself. And in that, Hamas won the majority and formed a government. The United States and the other Western countries responded by suddenly making several demands on Hamas that it unilaterally recognize Israel, it forswears the use of weapons, and unless it did so, they would impose sanctions, which they then proceeded to do. Moreover, they got the Fatah government, led by President Abbas, to encircle Hamas and finally got Abbas to dismiss the government. Nevertheless, I think it's very important to remember that this Hamas represents the majority of the Palestinians. Now, whether or not the United States and Israel should talk to Hamas, everyone else in the world, except governments in the Western world, believe that they should. In fact, majority of the Israelis are now saying that the Israeli government should negotiate with Hamas openly. The irony of it is that Olmert's government in Israel, the Bush government in the United States are among the most unpopular governments in the world. And they are the ones refusing to recognize Hamas, even to the extent of opening discussions with them. Not only that, the most significant thing that has happened is that Jimmy Carter, who wanted to go to Gaza and meet with the former Prime Minister, Haniyeh, was barred by the Israelis from even going to Gaza. This is really quite extraordinary. Instead, therefore, he's going to Damascus. He'll be meeting Khalid Mashal of Hamas, as well as the president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad. And he says that he is going to persuade them to declare their position and take the messages back to whoever is willing to listen to them. These are developments that are upsetting the Israeli government as well as the Bush administration a great deal because of the great prestige that Carter commands around the world.